Hi, everybody. This is Reza.
This is Sandy.
Welcome back to episode 60 of the Stone Cold Sober podcast.
It's been a crazy week, and I think due to the craziness of said week, I got a little sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to blame it on everything that went down this week and the fact that Mother Nature is sort of whiplashing between snow and sun. The perfect example of that was on Friday, where in the morning I wake up and you look outside, it's doom and gloom. The snow is coming down with a vengeance. Not so much as bad as when Jonas was here, but
Right.
definitely snowing, heavy precipitation. And I've got these massive windows in the office, and so we're just looking outside like, oh my God, what are we still doing here? We went to lunch, we come out, it's around 1:30, full sun, and it's warm. And you just knew, like, there's going to be people out here who aren't prepared and are going to get sick. And lo and behold, I went to bed Friday at like 11:30 because I was just spent. And I wake up on Saturday morning and I go, oh my goodness gracious, this is not going to be nice. So.
Well, I'll say you sound good, so.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's one good thing.
Shout out to Julia Zhu, my sister. She came over yesterday, helped me finish 2 Blue Apron meals. And she gave me the recommendation of using Alka-Seltzer. She says whenever she feels a little something, she drinks an Alka-Seltzer, and it just wipes away anything that could happen.
Interesting. I should try that because I generally am able to tell when I have a cold coming on.
Yeah.
Before I experience any like major symptoms, and I'm just kind of like, Jesus, take the wheel. You got me.
Oh my God.
You got me. Got me for a good week of stuffy nose, coughs, and
the worst,
and sore throat.
You just and the worst thing about it is you just don't feel like yourself. You feel lethargic. Yeah. You're not operating at 100%.
Yeah, that's the thing. I never really noticed. I guess I don't know. It's weird. To say that I've only noticed this recently, maybe the last time that I got sick, but you just the low on energy. But yeah, you just don't feel like yourself.
The good thing,
mentally,
though,
I feel drained.
Is that you're not sick too often then. If you have only noticed it recently, that's always a good thing.
Right.
Like
I usually get sick like once, maybe twice a year. I'll catch a cold.
Yeah, I do a pretty good job of not getting sick, but this year I've gotten sick twice already. And I can only point fingers at one thing. Never at myself, but I did get a flu shot this year. And that is the one thing I think that I didn't do last year that contributed to all of this mumbo jumbo.
Interesting.
So that's my prediction. All right, moving on.
All right. So, yeah, one thing that we wanted to talk about this week. So last week we spent a bit of time talking about like YouTube controversy, maybe internet controversy is the better phrase. And we discussed the Fine Brothers, Fine Brothers Entertainment. They're a YouTube channel where they basically just post reaction videos. So they'll get kids to watch YouTube videos, and they'll record the kids' reactions. And this channel that they have has garnered 14 million subscribers. And they had announced that they were going to try to trademark their particular format. So they had 4 specific formats that they were trying to trademark.
I think one overall format with a couple of offshoots.
I see. So so the ones that I know, like they had like kids react, they had elderly react or elders react, and then I think they had a couple of others, and I guess like the central format of their reaction channel. But to me, I felt like their channel wasn't really unique enough per se.
Doesn't seem like it was just you.
Yeah. So there was a major backlash. The internet was not happy at all. Their channel ended up losing something like 150,000 subscribers, which, when you have 14 million subscribers, it's not, it's not a crazy amount. Like, it's not a crazy percentage, but when you think about that number, 150,000 people said, you know what, I'm done with these people, and they left them. Well, I guess losing that many subscribers made a huge impact. The backlash that the company and the brothers themselves were getting was too much, so they ended up going back. They withdrew their trademark requests, I guess, and I think the one that had been granted, they, I guess, revoked it somehow.
They can. What do you mean revoked?
I'm not sure. I think they had been granted one, but somehow they not revoked. They like gave it back in a
Declined it in a
sense.
sense potentially.
Yeah, yeah. I
Can you
guess
do that?
that's what I was wondering when I saw that post and seen that they had been granted one. I was surprised to see that they can just kind of turn it in,
Like,
give it
nah,
away.
fam. I don't need this anymore. It's all good.
Right, right. I think what they did was like submit paperwork to have it done,
Okay.
and there was a lawyer. I think he was like his Reddit username was something like video game attorney.
Uh huh.
I'm not sure if you saw him,
No.
but he was on Twitter and Reddit, and he had basically volunteered his services for the, in quotes, I'm doing air quotes right now, greater good of the internet and maybe reaction channels. And he was corresponding with the Fine Brothers Entertainment, with their lawyers, I guess, and he had received copies of their submissions to rescind their submissions, or the requests for trademarks, or the ones that hadn't been granted yet. And I guess they had submitted paperwork to release the trademarks on the ones that they had been granted.
Okay. Okay.
So
So is this one of those all's well ends well?
that's what I wonder. I mean, I imagine there has to be some damage done to their reputation, to their channel, but I imagine of those 14 million subscribers, or say 13 million, 800,000, however many they had left after or before they went back on their React World plans. I imagine that a significant proportion of those people just didn't care. They don't care about that stuff.
No.
There might be younger people, they might be older people, but like, I saw so much they hate because I'm on Reddit, and Reddit was talking about it nonstop.
Right.
Like, the r/videos, the video subreddit, is one of the biggest subreddits on Reddit.
And what is a
And
subreddit?
Videos.
No, what is a subreddit?
Oh, sorry, got you. So Reddit is kind of it's a huge site where people can talk about just about anything. There are different categories, and subreddits classify those different categories. So you can almost think of it as like a giant filing cabinet in a sense, and each of these subreddits are files for different topics. So there's videos, there's politics, there's wedding, there's NBA, there's NFL, and so you go into each of these
Okay,
subreddits.
so almost like different little chat rooms and communities talking about different stuff.
Yeah, different communities. I wouldn't say chat rooms, but yeah, communities.
Okay.
So the video subreddit is a huge subreddit. It's one of the defaults. There's, I don't know how many million subscribers to it. So they get plenty of unique views, plenty of people coming through and watching videos on that subreddit. And the majority of the top 25 posts, or the front page, as they would call it, was Reaction Brothers related videos or content.
Wow.
And it was annoying. I wasn't as interested in the Fine Brothers scandal, and
we're calling it a scandal now.
whatever you want to call it, I'll call it a scandal.
Okay.
Situation, something, and it was just too much. It's too much going on. But it seemed like the backlash was really significant, and like I saw somebody post. I can't remember their exact phrasing. I wish I would knew their name, their username. I would give them credit. But basically, it said something along the lines, "Congratulations, internet! You bullied this company into going back on their plans."
Yeah.
That's essentially what they did. They didn't really contact them, send them nice emails requesting, saying, "Hey, this is what we feel this way." It was just immediate hate, immediate just parody videos. People just more or less just shitting on these brothers, and like it wasn't even a lot of the content that I saw wasn't necessarily just based on the content of their videos and their plans. They were like hating on their looks. They were like saying, making fun of their faces, like the looks that they had on their faces, or the one guy's eyes are slightly like cross-eyed. They're making fun of their faces.
No.
It's just like it's too much.
We're bullies.
Yeah, that's really what it was. So I thought the guy had a great point. He's congratulations, you successfully bullied these people into going back on their plans. Whether or not you agreed with their plans, they were really bullied If I were those two guys, I'd probably never want to show my face on the internet again. Well, because the nature. I don't think again, I don't really look at I don't really watch their videos, but from what I've seen, they don't actually
Right.
show up in their videos. It's just the people that they have react to the content, to the videos that they're wanting to react to.
Hmm.
So they tend to not show up behind the camera very often, or in
Right.
front of the camera. So
It's always interesting when you. It's like I mean, this is gonna be a crazy dorky comparison, but in Lord of the Rings, when Frodo gets the One Ring, right? It sort of corrupts him with power. This is
right,
what I feel like online bullying is all about. Like people, I'm not saying these people who did the bullying are getting bullied in real life, but I hate it when people sort of lose focus on the issue at hand, have a pretty, adult civil conversation on things. Like, I don't like this. Why don't you like it? Well, for this, that, and the other. Okay, let's discuss it, as opposed to, oh, I don't like this guy because he's now like he's a little cross-eyed, or I'm gonna call him out on his cross-eyedness. Like a similar thing is happening in the Bernie Sanders subreddit, where consistently the moderators or the people who are in charge of that community have to keep saying this is a pro Bernie Sanders subreddit, not an anti Hillary subreddit.
right.
And it's just, those are very different things. You can like Bernie Sanders without having to just absolutely bash or just spew all this vitriol at Hillary Clinton. Like, just be an adult about it. Have a real conversation instead of just degenerating into these ridiculous shouting arguments,
Yeah, absolutely.
or being ridiculously, excuse me, immature about the types of comments you're making online. Stop thinking that you can just hide behind a username and get away with saying stuff. It's like if we printed out your comments and we put it in the break room and we put your name in or your picture next to it, would you be proud of what you're saying?
Right, exactly. I gotta say kudos to the moderators there. I don't subscribe to the Bernie Sanders subreddit, but I find it very difficult to separate the pro my candidate and anti other person candidate. And I have to say that it is important to be able to say I support this candidate for this reason, and maybe I disagree with this candidate because of that reason. But when it comes to ad hominem attacks, when you go to the other person and you just bash them for things that aren't related to their policies or anything related to how they're going to run, when we're speaking about the political the political sense, but you can relate that to anything else.
Yeah, that's
It,
why
it just
that's why
it's
when
just
friends, like certain groups of friends of mine, start wanting to discuss politics, I just lose my mind. I was
right,
like, this is not going to go how you think it's going to go. You think you're going to have a conversation on politics. That's not what you're going to have, okay? What you're going to have is you're going to say some stuff that you feel passionate about, and then somebody else is going to say something that makes you angry on some level, and then you're going to try and want to convince them that what their viewpoint is the incorrect one. I think we've sort of lost sight of what discussion actually means nowadays when we discuss stuff. It's all about, oh, you're wrong. Let me try and convince you of my viewpoint. And then that's when things start to just go downhill really quickly.
absolutely.
It's like people have these views for a reason. They're not like, I mean, kudos to you if you can just change their viewpoints after one conversation. Clearly, they don't either find it important or they weren't, important views to be held in the first place. But there's these certain people, man, that love discussing politics. I'm just like, stop with this nonsense. This never goes the way you think it's gonna go. It's just, and you know what's the greatest thing? We get how many more months of this?
Oh gosh, a good 10 months now.
Exactly. Although I will say that one of my favorite things during election season is the Facebook post.
Oh god.
Oh no. One of the greatest things that always comes out of election season is somebody somewhere who thinks that they've got it. They've got the answer. They have the solution to whatever problems we're facing today, and it's one of those really long ones, like a long juicy post. And then when I come onto it a little bit too late, but you see like 30 comments, you know this was a crime scene. You know somebody's
Right.
feelings got hurt. You know things got really personal really quickly. Oh, I just love surveying that carcass of a conversation. I love it.
I hear you. I it they tend to be cringeworthy for me. I do read some of them, and
Oh.
other times I see stuff and I just can't deal with it.
What's disappointing is when a friend says something and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know you felt that way."
Right.
And you're like, "I don't know if as in the immortal words of Drake, nothing was the same."
Hope this doesn't affect our friendship.
Yeah, no, I think it does. I think you holding these really ridiculous views means that I don't trust my kids around you. uh,
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. So that was the update that we really wanted to talk about related to last week. But what I've really been itching to hear is your story of your date this week.
okay. Um, so I saw this girl originally, I want to say a week before.
I believe so.
Yeah, and she was interesting. I met her on this site called a site. It's like an app. I mean, I guess it's interchangeable, right? Whatever. On this site called Coffee Meets Bagel.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. That was on
Shark
that
Tank.
was on Shark Tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy about that is the owners wanted to give each other like six-figure salaries. They're like three Korean sisters, and it was really eating into their burn rate. It's like, well,
I remember
yeah,
that.
their argument was, well, this is our job. It's like, yeah, but you're a startup. You should not be paying yourselves six-figure salaries when you aren't, like, when you haven't officially quote unquote made it yet.
Right. If you're not making money, how are you going to be able to? How are you able to justify
Exactly.
paying yourselves $100,000 each?
And it's tough because they're similar to every other service in that they haven't figured out monetization, like a new model of monetization.
Right.
Most dating apps have in-app purchases as their main revenue source, which is a great revenue source, but it's also a stale one. And most people, if you're trying to invest in something like this, are definitely looking for new ways of helping me make money. Anyways, saw her about a week ago. We went to a place locally called Parm, which is a great Italian restaurant in New York City. They do these great, just basically
Love
like
Italian
Parm
food.
sandwiches. And they're like really, it's just so good. We were there. It was great. Well, what I liked about her immediately was how direct she was, in the sense that she kind of just said things that were on her mind, and that's refreshing to me because a lot of girls like to play the game of, oh, I'm not going to say too much so you don't know what I'm thinking, and that's fine. I get that play, but that's a boring play. Anyone can play the game of omission, you know?
Right.
It's saying something and letting that linger and then figuring out, all right, I just said that. Now what? It's like, it's like you need that repartee that you can sort of bounce stuff off of each other, and then that's where things start to become more interesting. Um, it was funny because she was saying initially how she wasn't really using the service anymore. And I go, oh, okay. I don't care. She goes, oh, a lot of guys think that's really weird when I say that. And I go, I really couldn't, you know, I don't care. I don't care if you didn't use it or not. I don't know you,
Yeah.
you know? And then she goes, oh, like I think I've got a friend that would be perfect for you. And I literally said, are you already trying to get rid of me?
Wow.
She goes, no. I don't know why I said that. And I go, that's what I kind of like though. Like, say stuff, get it out there, and then we can both react to it. It's like a Fine Brothers react. You know, date reacts too.
No, that totally makes sense. It makes for great conversations that you otherwise wouldn't really have. It makes the date stand out, right?
Exactly. It's just something that it makes it stand out a little bit more than all the other ridiculous dates that I've been on. First date went really well. She's this Asian girl, one of 4 siblings. And we kept it pretty short and sweet, about an hour and a half. And then
Okay.
she lives really close too. She lives in Jersey City, and we sort of left it. And then I texted her on the way home, and I said, "Hey, I had a great time. Love to see you again." Now, this is where we don't veer off just yet. Um, so we we were talking throughout the week, and then we decided, you know what? Let's do this again. This was a lot of fun. So I told her, "Why don't you plan the next one?" Now I know there's people out there right now just grimacing because they're like, "No, why would you say something like that? It's the guys who's supposed to plan stuff," and you're not wrong. And you're not wrong. The reason why I brought this up was she did say that she hates planning stuff because she's always planning stuff with like her friends who can't make decisions, whatever, whatever. But we were throwing like ideas around on what we wanted to do next, and then we sort of settled on Restaurant Week in New York, where like all these really fancy schmancy restaurants sort of have like a price fixed menu. And we didn't know which one we wanted to go to, so I jokingly said, "Well, why don't you put them all in an Excel sheet, and then we'll just randomize, and we'll go to one." And, I mean, there's a lot of restaurants, Reza.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so, but she did it, and then she sent it to me, like, literally 20 minutes before we were supposed to meet. And then I randomized it, and funny enough, it was to a place I'd been before, but I liked it because it was really close.
Okay.
So I put the reservation in, and I get there a little bit early, and then I put my card down as usual. Even though she said,
I was gonna say, didn't you already play this the last time?
well, yeah, I mean, both of the places were local, right? So I just put my card down again.
All right.
And she gets there. She said she was working from home. She looked great. We had a great conversation over dinner. We had the corner booth, so as the dinner went on, I was like sort of inching my way closer to her, not in like a creepy way, but in a natural, we're talking, we're getting closer, we're feeling each other's like energy. We were there for about 2 hours, which on a random, I think Wednesday night it was, which is not bad. She goes after dinner. Oh, she was also not happy that I paid again because she goes, "You promised that I would pay the next time," and I go, "Did I?" And so I just sort of quashed that. She goes after dinner. She goes, "Let's go around for a walk." I was like, "Okay, sure." Now, mind you, the financial districts of New York City at night, there's really not too much to see because everything's closed for business. You know, the markets are closed.
Right.
No one's around. But you know what? I like spending time with you. I'll walk around with you. So we did a loop. And then we made our way back to the PATH train station because she has to take it to Jersey City. And
Right.
we were discussing the fact that, with Chinese New Year coming up, shout out to all the Asians out there. Is that a weird shout out to make? Shout out to all Asians. I see you. I feel you. She goes, "Oh, I've got like a lot of family coming into town. I don't know when the next time I'll see you might be." I go, "No worries." I literally said to her, well, I guess because we're walking like down this like long road to the PATH train station, I literally said, "Well, I guess I gotta kiss you now because I don't know when I'm gonna see you next." And that threw her off so hard. She did not know how to react to that. She got really nervous, dude.
Like, what did she do?
She was like, she goes, let's keep walking. And I go, all right, fine. So we literally walked to the water.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like that near that Amex area.
Yeah.
Beautiful place. There wasn't a sight to be seen. And then you could just tell she was like mad nervous. And I go, this is really interesting because like of the 2 times that I've met you, you have not given off a nervous energy. You've given off a confident energy. And this is kind of cute. Like, where is this coming from? And then I just kept saying, "I'm going to kiss you. It's going down." She goes, no. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. And I was like, for a minute, I was like, wait, what the fuck is happening right now? But she ended up sort of mustering the courage, if you will. And then I kissed the shit out of her. And she said that she was really, she appreciated that I was patient. But I'll tell you this, Reza, I have never used that line, I'm gonna kiss you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just here it is. Here's my move. Calling it. It's like, it's like playing a game of horse, off the backboard,
You
behind
let
the
her
back.
mentally prep for it.
Exactly. And for some reason, in my mind, in that moment, I was like, you know what? This just seems right to say. Because I
Yeah.
don't know when I'm going to see you next. And I've had a really nice time. And I think I'm going to kiss you now. Like, can you think of a reason why we shouldn't? And it was just funny. It was interesting. She also said that she hasn't felt this nervous around somebody in a long time. Which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine so.
Initial diagnosis. Hey, real quick, what's the difference between a prognosis and a diagnosis?
I want to say, I think the diagnosis is based on evidence. And I would imagine, I believe a prognosis is almost like, hey, tell me your symptoms. Oh, okay, those are your symptoms. Well, I believe that you have.
Okay. So,
Let's see.
survey says,
Diagnosis, identifying the nature or cause of some phenomenon. Prognosis, a prediction about how something will develop. I
oh,
see.
okay.
I see.
So, not...
Got it.
Okay.
So I'm wrong.
Got it. So I'm wrong. Don't need you to say it. Okay. So we've been texting a good bit, like every day. I'm not blowing up her phone, obviously. But it's interesting because someone like this, it's interesting where, sure, you can say stuff in in real life, IRL, but I hate people who do that. I really hate people who say IRL.
I don't know why you just did it then. I have no idea why you just
It
did
just
it.
felt right, but it was
No, it
so
doesn't.
wrong. It felt
Yeah, it was very wrong.
it was very wrong. I apologize to all our listeners. I wanted to do it. I never get to do
No,
it.
that's fine. Go ahead. I understand. I
Um,
understand.
And sometimes things get lost in text, like sarcasm gets lost in text. I'm a pretty sarcastic guy. She is not as sarcastic as I am. So some things that I say, she goes, "What does that mean?" And I go, "Oh, Jesus." Because you can read sarcasm in real life a lot easier than over text.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like some of my jokes, Reza. Some of my jokes are bricking. And it's like that.
Isn't that the worst?
It's like that really famous, not really famous, but there's that article in the Player Tribune where Kobe's going around. I'm comparing myself to Kobe right now. Kobe's in a shoot around, and he's just missing all these shots. And this rookie, I forget the name, who wrote the article, he's like, "Dude, why is Kobe missing all these shots? I think we got a shot tonight." And then all of a sudden, all these construction guys come over, and then Kobe walks over and goes, "Man, that hoop is short."
Mm.
And then the rookie goes, "You sure you're not just having an off night?" He goes, "Nah, man, I make those shots are ones I make. I don't understand why I'm missing them." He goes, "Yeah, how much do you think it's off by?" And Kobe goes, "I think it's by like a quarter of an inch."
Wow.
And then at the end of the game, right, Kobe, they fixed it. The rookie finds the same construction crews, and he asks him, "Hey, what was wrong with that hoop?" In the beginning, he goes, "Oh, it wasn't to regulation. It was off by a quarter of an inch."
Wow.
Isn't that something?
I did not read this one. That's crazy.
It was a very enjoyable article to read.
Yeah, I want to say that totally makes sense though, because it's like in the muscle memory of most NBA players when they shoot, and I've heard that a lot of NBA players, like despite the fact that some of them will shoot like 50% from the field, and like 30-some% from 3-point as the general NBA average, most of them will shoot like 75 to 80% if they're not contested, like if they're not running around all the time.
Right.
It's crazy to think that they're going to make their shots so much, and it's just because it's just so ingrained in their muscles. But if it's off just by the slightest bit, a quarter of an inch, that the arc that they have on their shot and everything just completely gets thrown off.
Yeah, well, it's like the calibration.
Right.
It's like a smart board in high school where all of a sudden you're touching it, it's like, God damn it. Everything's totally off.
It's all off.
Yeah, I just compared an NBA player to a smart board.
A smart board. I remember Mr. Krug using it back in the day. He was one of the first three at Unionville to have a smart board.
Yeah.
He was good with it too.
The man was a genius.
Great teacher.
Great teacher. Terrifying teacher. Great teacher. Demanded excellence though.
He did. I looked him up the other day. I googled him because I know he retired from teaching,
Right.
but he still coaches lacrosse. I think he's part time now, but I think he's coaching at like Great Valley right now.
Good for him.
Yeah,
He was a good coach.
that's what I had heard.
I wonder how he got
Or I
into
said
that.
lacrosse. It was field hockey, wasn't it? Girls field hockey.
I think it was girls field hockey. I
Yeah,
wonder
I
how he
said-
got into girls field hockey.
Same.
Like where was, like how did he play? Like there's no men's field hockey, is there?
There is, which surprised me, but it's not really played in America. My dad actually used to play back in Ghana. He was on their World Cup team like a long time ago.
What? What?
He told this. I've only heard the story once. He told the story to my 10th grade cultural studies class. I gotta ask him about it next time I see him.
There's so many stories. World Cup.
Yeah.
You gotta ask him if no, that's inappropriate. Yeah, no, that's definitely something you gotta ask about, and we gotta hear more about that the next time you talk to him. But yeah, overall the day went really well. We're trying to figure out what we do next. We were thinking about doing a jazz club, so she said, "Take me to the Village Vanguard that you love so much." And I go, "I would love to." So we'll see. The great thing about the experience thus far has been my general excitement in wanting to see this person.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy to say out loud, but there's a lot of people, like, especially the dating game in New York, is just there's so many people out there that have just genuinely lost their mind that it can get just so tiring. And at the end of the day, like, you just want to come home and duty, you know? Or you just want to come home and just relax and chill with people you know and love. Instead
Right.
of just going out there time and time again and putting yourself out there. It's like, the grind is real, man. And you start to ask yourself sometimes, is any of this worth it? And of course it's worth it, you know? You got to put in the time. But sometimes it's just, you're tired. And you've got every right to be tired. You know, the city does throw a lot of nonsense your way. But there's rare moments like this where you're like, you know what? I actually don't mind seeing you again. Like, and I know, but it's one of those, you know what? I had such a great time. Let's do this again. Why not do this again?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited about. Doesn't hurt that she's cute, you know? So
Doesn't hurt.
yeah, she's a gamer.
Really?
But she's a Nintendo gamer.
What kind of games does she play?
So I don't know.
You don't know.
She plays a Puzzle Fighter.
Puzzle Fighter.
It's a Street Fighter, but you play by clearing blocks of Tetris.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She didn't believe me that I knew it, and then I said, she goes, "Well, name me one fighter." That's it. And I was like, "Ryu, come on. But she wants to go to Nintendo World when it opens, and I go, "Okay." I didn't say that to her, but but it's like, yeah, I'll go with you. But like, you know me, I've never been a Nintendo guy.
I love Nintendo. That's what got me into gaming. So that's why.
I mean, I don't hate on Nintendo. There was this one girl I saw once that was she literally said to me, "PC Master Race," and I go, "Yep, this is over." Like, she said it unironically, which is the most scary part. For those of you who don't know, PC Master Race is just a online community within Reddit that makes fun of other gamers because they play on consoles like Xboxes and PlayStations when they're quote unquote not playing on like true next generation hardware. And it's just bogus. Like, it's just so stupid. It's such a stupid argument. You like what you like, you play on what you play on.
It's because we're filthy casuals, Sandy. That's why.
We are filthy casuals, and somehow being a casual player makes me less of a human being.
I don't even think it's really about casual to me. I think for me the reason. So I play. I don't game very much on my PC, but I can, and I do every now and then. But I like to play on my console because it's just relaxing. It's my casual environment. Maybe I just dropped the casual right there, but everything works on it. I know if I buy a game for my Xbox, I'll put it in and it'll run.
It's a plug and
But
play solution.
yeah, if you put it in your computer, there are so many different architectures and processors and just parts that make it very difficult to get everything to work perfectly on every computer. And it's not guaranteed that it's going to work the way it should work on my computer. Like it might work on somebody else's computer. And I shouldn't say that, or I don't mean to say that in a way that makes it sound like it's likely that that would happen, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot easier for me just to play on my console. That's how I came up. That's how I grew up playing games. I just like to play with the controller in my hand, and I don't like to play very much with the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I used to be a hardcore computer game guy.
Right, I remember that because that's where you started. That's where you played the original Call of Duties.
Yeah, and I would spend hours on this one room called Crazy Penguin. And what was great about that room was it was just always on 24/7. So sometimes they had a maximum of like 64 players or 32 players. Sometimes you get in there really early. There'd be like 9 people, and just like just keep shooting the same people over and over again. But there was times where it was like you'd have to wait 30 minutes to get in there, and then it would just be a lag-tastic just a ridiculously terrible connection. But I was always in there, man.
Wow.
But I wanted to tell you another story. I mean, you were there, but I wanted to tell the story of what happened after the date. So, I can't play FanDuel with the general public. So, what happens is there is a private league set up for only internal players. It's a league that it's not publicly available. And it's just something for, camaraderie, Everyone likes sports. It's a great way to trash talk. It's all fun and games. And now that the NBA season is going on, we do the Wednesday slate of games. Because Wednesday's a big night of the NBA. Wednesday and Friday.
Right.
And so, I created my lineup, and I just went on this date. I can't say I was very confident in this lineup because I just don't know basketball as much as I will know soon enough. And then, the date is over, I'm walking back to my place, and then all of a sudden there's this epiphany, like, oh my god, let's see what my status is. Because it's sort of like there's like a live update on where you are on the leaderboards.
Yep.
And I open my phone up, and all of a sudden it says I'm in first place out of like 200 people.
Nice.
I go, you gotta be kidding me. And it's like, I'm not drunk. And then I open it up, and it's like, yeah, I'm in first place right now by like 15 points. Like, it is a considerable margin. And I go, oh, sweet baby Jesus,
yeah.
This is it. And then as the night wears on, I'm starting talking to my friends. I go, hey, fam, I'm in this right now.
You're in the money.
Yeah, I'm in the money right now.
Money.
And they're like, oh my god, like, let's do the analysis. Who else has got who and whatever. And I found out that this one other person had a really good chance of beating me. He had these 2 players on the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves play out west and they had the latest game. I think their game started at 10:30.
Yep, they did. They played the Lakers.
Clippers.
They played the Clippers. Oh,
yeah, they played the Clippers. And this was on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. You're right. They played the Lakers earlier in the week, I think.
Yes.
Or maybe later. I don't remember.
And I was like, okay, that guy's in 8th place, but he's got a team that could legitimately knock me out. I was like, so what you're saying is now I've got to stay up. I'm exhausted, right? I've got to stay up and I got to watch this game now because the difference between first place and second place is a considerable amount.
I love how you have to stay up to watch the game as if you actually have to do something. You don't. Whatever happens, whether you're watching or not.
Yeah, but
I understand. I understand. I totally understand.
It's like fantasy football. You got to watch.
You got to watch.
Right. And so as the game wears on, my lead, because I have no more players, starts slowly diminishing. And then there is 30 seconds left in the game. And I am only up at this point by 0.3 points. I want to go back a second because there was a moment where on the Timberwolves, Ricky Rubio decided, you know what, I'm going to go up for this layup. Just kidding. I'm getting bodied right now. Let me dump a bounce pass in between the legs of, maybe it was DeAndre Jordan. I'm not sure. But bounce passes it to DeAndre Jordan to Wiggins, who goes for the easy put in 2 points. And now I'm only up by 0.3 points. Now, we need to go back even further because there was this guy on the Bulls who had played earlier that night named Etwan Moore, who absolutely went bonkers off. Shout out to Cody Chin for giving me this little tidbit, a nugget of information. He goes, Etwan Moore, man, I think he's going to have a solid night, and he's super cheap, which is important.
Yeah.
Because you got to get points, but you got to get them at value. And you need people who exceed their value, because anyone can pick Steph Curry. But because anyone can pick Steph Curry, it's super expensive to pick Steph Curry.
Right.
And is 50 points from Steph Curry for $10,000 worth the same as 50 points from an Etwan Moore for $3,000? I think not. So Etwan Moore went off, except at the end of the game, he missed 2 free throws. And the way the scoring works is you get a point for every point you score. So when he missed those free throws, I go, I have a feeling that's going to come back. I literally said it, like I muttered it to myself because my roommate was asleep. I go, yo, I got a feeling that's going to come back and hurt me. All right, now we go back. 30 seconds left. I'm only up by 0.3. The Clippers are down by God knows how much. And Chris Paul heaves a 3. Anyone who knows anything, actually that's a terrible way to say it. All you need to know is Chris Paul does not know how to shoot 3-pointers.
He's not a 3-point shooter. He's probably like a 20% 3-point shooter.
He's garbage.
I'm actually literally trying to look him up right now because I'm curious to know what it is.
Whatever it is, it's garbage. And you know,
he's a 38%.
All right, so not the worst in the world, but not
But
good.
he doesn't shoot very many. He's attempted 184. I'm not sure if that's this season or what.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be this season because that's a ridiculously low amount.
Yeah.
Because he's been in the league for a number of years, no?
It's just this season. JJ Redick on the same team, he's shot 258. He shoots almost 50%, 48%. Steph Curry has attempted 514, but he's an anomaly. Nobody shot that many other than he.
What's his rate right now of them going in?
His percentage is 453.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so he's made 223 already this season.
It's a record, right?
I heard a stat yesterday at the beginning of the Thunder game. If Steph Curry did not shoot another 3-pointer for the rest of the season, he would be in 10th place, I think, for the most 3-pointers in one single season, and we are at the halfway point. So
he's breaking that record.
At his pace, he's set to break his own record from last season. And
who has the most 3-point shots in a year?
Well, he does from last year.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
How many did he make last year? Let's
see. He had 286 last year. The year before, he had 272. So he has numbers 1 and 2. The year number 3 is Ray Allen with 269. Then Steph Curry. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 2 is Steph Curry from 3 years ago, not 2 years. Well, 2 years ago, not last year.
Okay.
Last year he had 260, or 2 years ago he had 261. I'm sorry, I'm making this confusing. I should have just said the season number, but
all right.
Steph Curry's just insane.
So there's 30 seconds left, and Chris Paul just launches one, and he bricks it. And in my mind, I go, all right, as long as these 2 guys named Wiggin and Anthony Towns don't catch that ball for a rebound, I got this.
You didn't have to be a high probability that either of those 2 would have gotten that rebound, right?
It's a pretty high probability. They're great rebounders. But the idea is, as long as they don't get it, I'm good to go. And what happens? They don't get it. A Clippers guy gets it and goes for the putback. Like just a quick, easy dump-off layup, right?
Uh-huh.
He misses. he stood right underneath the basket. This man's getting paid millions of dollars. He's literally... I mean, he could kiss the rim. That's how close he is. And he missed. And guess who gets the rebound?
Anthony Towns?
Yep. It was either him or Wiggins.
Yeah.
And then he got the extra point, and I lost by 0.9. And literally the scoreboard in the app just reversed our 2 names at the last second. Literally, like, it was crazy because he got the rebound, This guy that could not have, like, the last person in the world needed to get a rebound. He gets the rebound. The whistle goes off. You know, that really funny sounding NBA buzzer,
Yeah.
and then the game was over. And I didn't even, like, it was like whiplash. I had no idea what just happened. It was just circus basketball at the end. All fundamentals being thrown away. I'm speaking like I know what I'm talking about.
You can see the money literally being ripped from your hands.
Yeah. I go, psych. Thanks for playing. I go, what? But it's really exciting. It was a really exciting night. Coupling the fact that I had a great date the night earlier, you know, it was firing on all cylinders, dude. So that was my week. Oh, I also had, on Friday night, I met up with this awesome podcaster named Jenna Matecki. I met her at an event for Nicole Cardoza's Yoga Foster. She was having a gala, and Nicole introduced us. She goes, "Hey, she podcasts, you podcast. You guys should totally be best friends." And we're like, "Oh my god, another podcaster?" So we basically just talked about our setups and what we talked about, and she has a great podcast called Notes on Doing. Highly recommend our listeners go out and check it out. The Notes on Doing podcast focuses on people who are doing really interesting things, like really interesting careers, but more importantly, have just an incredible passion for what they do, and just doing something that they love, which is a great sort of thing for us, you know, people to just listen in on and get a sense of what that's like to do something that sort of like that chase your passions type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's called the podcast is called Notes on Doing, and I just again highly recommend if you want another podcast, another quality, like an absolute quality podcast to check out. Please check out that one. But I met up with her, and you know we met up in Brooklyn, and we were at this bar, and it was just a speakeasy type feel to it, and it was great because I just got to wind the week down, just discussing like getting to know this girl and her sort of life story about how she got into podcasting, and then I got to meet up with some friends for dinner afterward. And what was cool about that was, you know, I don't get to see these guys too often. It was sort of a self-build guys' night out. And this is when I started to feel a little bit sick, so I did call the night early for me. But before that, we were at this Mexican place called Mesa Coyoacan, and they had these steak tacos with grasshopper, and it was awesome. It was so good.
I just want to take a step back because I just want to make sure people heard that.
Steak tacos
with what?
Steak tacos.
And what else? With grasshopper, right?
Grasshopper. Yep. You're right. You're not wrong.
All right.
Let me tell you something. Really good. Really tasty. The grasshoppers in particular add a nice crunch to it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Never thought that that's what you would have told me. Like when you told me last night that that's what you had for dinner. I'm like, wait, say it again. Come again.
Well, it's not
was
like
I
I
just
had
thinking about a grasshopper and I heard you say that, but not really.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I just had grasshopper, right?
I get it. Interesting in my opinion.
Okay.
I've never had grasshopper before. I've never thought about eating a grasshopper before. I would try it though.
Well, I appreciate you being open enough to try it because I think you'd enjoy it immensely.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine people would continue eating it if it wasn't at least slightly enjoyable, right?
Oh, absolutely. So as we start to wind down this podcast, there's one last thing we got to cover because it is Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on the game. What do you think is going to go down?
So I think that despite the fact that I would like to see Peyton Manning win another Super Bowl, I think that Carolina's going to win. And I think that Carolina's going to win by at least 10 points.
Oh, you're part of it's going to be a blowout crew.
I don't necessarily know if it's going to be an absolute blowout, but I don't think it's going to be, fine, I'll just say, sure, I think it'll be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a close game, and when the final score shows, I think it'll be at least 10 points that Carolina wins by.
I can totally see that happening.
Yeah,
I can totally see the Carolina Panthers winning a game like 30-17,
that's exactly what I think. I think the score will be 34-17, something like that.
34-17, 30-17. I can
Yeah.
see that. I think that the Broncos are going to need to come out real strong, real fast. Either get the ball and score, right, to put the pressure on Cam, or have that defense step up and make it a defensive grind fest. I don't think that Cam Newton has played a defense as physical, as fast, as good as the Broncos. What I don't think people are talking more about, is the lack of Super Bowl experience that the Carolina Panthers team as a whole has. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone on that team, besides Davis, right, Thomas Davis, has even been to a Super Bowl, and even he, I don't think, went to a Super Bowl, because I think that the last Panthers Patriots Super Bowl was like more than 12 years ago. No, that's not true. It might be true. And I just don't think that like I mean, the biggest game of your life on the biggest stage, you're gonna get some moments out there, dude. And
Yeah.
I wonder how Cam will step up. I wonder how Kuechly, Josh Norman will step up. They've done an amazing job playing up until this point, each game being the biggest game of their life, each playoff game. They
Right.
absolutely destroyed the Cardinals. But this is a Super Bowl, and you've got Peyton Manning. And most of that squad was there when they went to the Super Bowl before.
Yeah.
And you got
Was
this
it
incredible
3 years ago?
Exactly, 2 years ago. You've got an incredible linebacking core with DeMarcus Ware. Jesus, really? Am I really going to forget their names right now?
You got Von Miller
Von Miller, thank you.
and others.
Right. Incredibly athletic, super smart players. I can totally see that the Panthers would blow them out. I can also see them winning a really close game. And I can also see the Broncos winning this game.
So you can see all possibilities.
Except the Broncos blowing the Panthers out.
Gotcha. Yeah, my concern with the Broncos is I worry that their offense won't be able to produce points. The only thing though is that. So I think that if the Broncos win the game, I think it's going to have to be a big part from their defense forcing mistakes on the Panthers offense, which is totally possible. Very possible that Cam throws a couple pick sixes or interceptions that give the Broncos the ball with very short field, to go for a touchdown. I think that Peyton Manning's arm is just not up to the strength. I kept making fun of you because you have your Madden games with Rob, and I see that like 35-yard pass that Peyton Manning makes to, was it Demaryius Thomas that caught it?
Vernon Davis.
Oh, it was Vernon Davis. Oh yeah, that's right. Vernon Davis runs it for another like 20 yards for the touchdown. And I'm like, there's no way Peyton, like when Peyton Manning threw the ball, he like barely stepped into it and just chucks like 35 yards down the field. Peyton Manning can't do that in real life right now without throwing his entire body into that throw. And when he does that, he's not as accurate as he needs to be. So I worry that their offense won't be able to put up as many points. But I think that if their receivers can make plays after the catch, and that their running backs can at least be scary enough to force the Panthers to allow the receivers to make those big plays later on, so they don't have safety help or things like that, then I think that's how the Broncos would have to score. But I still think that the Panthers will just win. I think their offense has been too dominant. The only thing that worries me is the Super Bowl jitters, because like you said, they're a young team, no Super Bowl experience. It's the biggest stage of them all. Millions and millions of people watch the Super Bowl, and that's a lot of pressure.
It absolutely is, and so I'm very excited to see this game. It's also one of the saddest days of the year, because the second the game is over, you're like, oh, the NFL season is now done, and my life has no meaning.
Hey, jump over to the NBA.
You're right. Life has
The N-
meaning again. Thank you for that.
the NBA is a lot of fun. I think with you and FanDuel too. I think that makes it a lot easier or a lot more fun for you. I don't really follow any particular teams in the NBA. I shouldn't say I don't follow them. There are certain teams that I like to keep up with. I like to watch their games because they're more entertaining than others. But I don't really support any particular team. I just like the game. Um, I feel like I should be a Sixers fan, but they're so bad that what's the point right now,
Exactly.
at least.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's it for us.
All right, cool. Well, I'm Reza.
I'm Sandy. Thanks so much for listening this week. We'll catch you next week.